the broadcaster's chief operating officer. The DA approached the High Court to enforce remedial action proposed by Public Protector Thuli Madonsela. Now our reporter Aldrin Samper is with the legal counsel for Mr. Motsoeneng this morning. But before you go into the interview, Aldrin, just set the scene for us. It looks rather busy there.
Yes, it has been quite a busy day here outside the Supreme Court of Appeal, Eben. Since we arrived around about 6 o'clock, we saw some people who call themselves the Friends of Hlaudi Motsoeneng arriving here outside the courtroom. A stage has also been set up, and we expect the COO of the SABC to address some of these supporters later on after the court case, after the hearing has been concluded. But right now, standing next to me is his legal counsel. We have Zola Majavu, just to get an insight to why this case is so important for Mr. Motsoeneng. Mr. Zola, this is not the first time that you guys are at a courtroom, and it's now at the Supreme Court of Appeal. Why did you feel it's so important to take this matter up to the Supreme Court of Appeal?
Firstly, let me start off by making an appeal to the multitudes of people gathered around here to observe maximum discipline so that the court proceedings today are not interrupted. We are dealing with serious matters. Why is it important for Mr. Motsoeneng? This issue is not about Mr. Motsoeneng. It's also not about Advocate Thuli Madonsela. It is about legal and serious constitutional issues that are at play. It is just that Mr. Motsoeneng so far has been the only one who has the guts enough to take this matter up all the way to the SCA. What is central to our contention is whether or not the Public Protector has the sort of powers that she contends she does. We are saying she doesn't. She is a very useful and a constitutional Chapter 9 institution that has the responsibility to investigate matters that are reported to it and matters that she of its own accord may seek to investigate. And having done so, she has to make recommendations and remedial action. The nub of the contention is what is the binding nature of those remedial action. You would know that arising from her investigation, the SABC matter, she made findings and certain remedial action that we believe are prejudicial to our clients' rights. And it is those rights that we are seeking to challenge. The Western Cape High Court ruled, amongst others, that the SABC must take disciplinary action against Mr. Motsoeneng, and in effect basically went so far as dictating how that should happen. We are saying it is not the place of the court to do so. We believe that it offends against the separation of powers principle. But secondly, and most importantly, is what exactly is the nature of the powers of the public protectors. And it is this point that we are determined to ventilate all the way to the Constitutional Court if needs be. And it is not a Hlaudi issue. It is an issue that is aimed at obtaining legal certainty. And that is why all the legal representatives gathered here, high caliber people I must add, are also not in agreement. Now that indicates that it cannot be the Public Protector only whose view on this matter is correct. The fact that we have a court that has also pronounced in our favor on that particular point, and we've got other people who are saying that very court might have gotten it wrong, it indicates you that there's a serious constitutional issue at play. So we are determined to ventilate it. We are in a state of readiness to present our arguments before the SCA, and we'll respect whatever the SCA has to say, obviously reserving our clients' rights to take this matter to the Constitutional Court if needs be. It is not about Hlaudi's arrogance. It is not about whether or not he's fit to hold office. That issue is not even before the SCA today. What is at issue before the SCA are those constitutional points that I have referred you to. And it could have been anyone. But this man had the guts to say, no, let's take this thing and test it. If it happens to be that at the end of the long road he is found to have been wrong in his contentions, so be it. He will gladly accept that because he respects the courts, he respects the rule of law.
It has also been the Public Protector's contention that her office is not just an ombudsman. And from the indications that we got from the DA as well, and when we were speaking earlier on, you said either way, whatever ruling the Supreme Court of Appeal comes to, this matter will end up in the Constitutional Court.
Let me first talk about the DA. The DA is a political player. Its place is in Parliament. That is where they should debate these issues. The SABC, as a state organ that is owned by the Republic of South Africa through a shareholder in the form of the minister, can be held accountable by, amongst others, the DA in Parliament. It is not for the DA to pick up the cudgels on behalf of the public protector. You must remember that it is not the public protector that went to court to seek to enforce her own remedial action. If that were the case, I would probably say that's a sensible approach. But it is a political party that seeks to suggest that the public protector is not capable enough to do whatever she has to do. Advocate Madonsela is a very capable colleague, and I don't think she needs the DA or any political party for that matter to speak on her behalf. But having said that, we are of the view, a very firm and considered view, that she is no more than an ombud. And that is precisely what we are seeking to persuade the SCA on. If we're wrong, the SCA will pronounce to say exactly if she is not an ombud with those powers limited to what an ombud does, then what is she? And what is the value and the role of that institutional organ of state? We are not mounting a personal challenge against Advocate Thuli Madonsela. She herself has accepted that it may well be that the Concord must give some sort of direction on this matter. That indicates to us that she too accepts that it may well be that another court may come to a different finding with regard to the interpretation of this particular important state organ. So at the end of the day, personalities aside, we're dealing with serious constitutional issues, and no one can claim a monopoly of what is right or wrong in terms of their own particular interpretation. Maybe the DA is right. Equally, maybe the DA is wrong. It could well be that this man, Hlaudi, is right in his contentions. Maybe he's wrong. But I think we need to leave that to the courts to give guidance, having been persuaded by either of the parties that are going to be appearing before it. I need to stress this. It cannot be that the DA or the public protector alone have a monopoly of what the correct constitutional interpretation should be. Equally, it cannot be in Hlaudi's mouth to say that only he is correct in terms of the interpretation. That is why we need to respect each other's positions and submit ourselves before the judiciary, who is better placed to then, having listened to everybody, say this is the way it is going to be. And I can assure you, once the Constitutional Court has spoken on this matter, my client in particular will respect that particular position, whether it is in his favor or against him. But the issue here is not about him. Of course, it is about him to the extent that those pronouncements have a direct impact on his rights, and those rights we will protect.
Okay, well, perfect there, Eben, as you heard there from Zola Majavu, indicating that Hlaudi Motsoeneng is the first person to really take on the public protector. You remember that during the IEC, during the elections, there were some contestations around Pensi Tlakula, the former commissioner of the IEC, and that matter went all the way to the electoral court, but she didn't take it further. But this time around, we've got Hlaudi Motsoeneng, who is taking it further and who's contesting the powers of the public protector as well as her remedial action.
Aldrin, thank you very much for that contribution. Interesting case before the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein today. All of our platforms will keep you updated as to what the developments are, and if there's an outcome, you know you'll be able to watch it right here on SABC News.